Hi there, welcome to this month's market update. Again, joining you from one of our wonderful branches here to talk to you about what's been happening over the last month or two and give you some idea of how we see things moving in the months ahead. And it's been a really interesting time, so hopefully you'll enjoy this update. Before I get into it, why not hit the like button? It really does help us out. And of course, subscribe to our channel. So, there is genuinely no getting away from it. Even after the end of the stamp duty break, the stamp duty reversion that happened at the end of March, the market continues to motor on. And that is something I'm going to get into today. But you know what? I reckon over the next, however many weeks, maybe month or two, you're going to start to hear some headlines. And I don't want you to be fooled by those headlines. Those headlines are going to go something along the lines of buyers disappear after the end of stamp duty, housing market lull after the stamp duty break. As I say, don't be fooled, because genuinely that is not what is happening. There is no doubt that completion numbers in April were lower than they were in March, and they were lower than they were in April of last year. But what you've got to do, which I'll do for you now, is take an average over the last 3 months. So if you look at February, March and April and look at the number of people that actually moved into their properties or collected their keys, we are 33% up on where we were at that time last year. So the number of deals going on in the market is a lot higher. The underlying level of activity is a lot stronger. And what I can also tell you is, again, this is very specific to Manning Estate. And if you look at the number of deals, number of sales still going through, so our active pipeline of sales, that's still 5% higher in unit numbers than it was a year ago. So again, a very strong signal of just how good the property market across this region is right now. So what are the reasons for this? I hear you asking me. Why is there this surge in activity? Well, I'm going to go back to one of the things I've spoken about already a couple of times this year and maybe just go into a little bit more detail. But for me, one of the big trends that we've seen in 2025 so far is the return of first-time buyers back into the market. And it's something to just dwell on. And it's interesting, at the start of this week, I was reading headlines from loads of different outlets around the help that people are getting from the Bank of Mum and Dad. The Bank of Mum and Dad apparently are now one of the UK's biggest lenders. That's a really interesting thing, right? They are providing, apparently over the last 4 years, up to £40 billion worth of funding to their kids. £9.6 billion in 2024. And I expect that in 2025, we're going to see that trend continue. And it's understandable, isn't it, really? Because if you think about the government and their policies, particularly around inheritance tax, you can see that parents are keen to try and pass on their wealth to their kids and certainly help them get onto the ladder. So again, let's think a little bit further. Why is the return of the first-time buyer so important to the housing market? Because they are the most important group, if you think about it. And there's probably 3 things that you could dwell on around that. The first one is that, well, it's obvious. They start the chains. They start the bottom of the market. They often buy at the lower price bands, and that helps keep the market active and fluid and helps people above move up the market as well. So everything really does start down there. The other great thing about first-time buyers is that they're brilliant in terms of they often need loads of stuff for their new home. It's their first home. So they'll go out and they'll buy all new furniture and everything that they need because they might not have a lot from where they've been previously. So they're great for the local economy. And the final thing is that they're really good at buying properties that are often a little bit older and a bit more neglected. Normally they might not have kids, so they've got a little bit more time on their hands, and they can help improve and drive property values in an area and also, again, help to stimulate the economy. So all of this is having a really nice impact on prices and what's going on in terms of price growth within our region. And we expect, as I keep saying, that will continue into the summer months. So what's happening next? Well, I'm sat here filming this on the 7th of May. Shame I'm not doing it tomorrow, because I could have spoken to you a little bit more about what's happened with interest rates. But the predictions are that interest rates are going to fall once again, and probably by about 0.25% to 4.25%. But the banks and lenders seem to already be pricing this fall into the market, because what we're seeing for the first time since September 2024 is lending rates now available at under 4%. And that is the best news of all, because as lenders start to reduce their rates, it allows affordability to be stretched, and again, just keeps the pedal down in terms of the activity we're seeing across the market. And we expect that all of that will continue, as we predicted, to price growth in this year of between 5 and 7%. I'll perhaps get into a little bit more detail on that on the next video. And if you want to stay in touch with us, please, as I said already, just subscribe to our channel. But why not also, if you're thinking about making that move in 2025, give us a call. We're available 8 a.m. till 8 p.m., 7 days a week, and we'd love to talk to you about how we can help you move. Thanks for watching.